My name is Glenee. I am the CEO and founder of RX for Life, a health equity consultancy and education agency. And I am so excited to be hosting tonight's event, Thinking Smart About Healthcare, what everyone ought to know about equity and workplace discrimination. Let me just get to my slides over here. Mm, the audience window. Okay, how do I do this? Share screen. Okay, so I'm sharing screen. I want to do that one. Share. Where? Sorry, you guys, I'm just kind of having a moment of discussion with myself. Present window and then your window. Okay, so as I said, I hope everyone is doing well. You know, 2020 has certainly been a polarizing year. Wouldn't you all agree? 2020 has been an absolute polarizing year. If no one knew anything about discrimination and inequities, 2020 was full of vision for everyone. I'm hoping to be able to help other career professionals who experience bias and burnout, stress related anxieties and depressions, or whatever it is that someone may be going through in the workplace that leads them into the healthcare system with some education. I think that's a good thing, don't you all? So let me just make sure that you guys can see. If you have any questions, please type your questions in the chat box. Do not have a moderator for tonight. I am hosting Thinking Smart About Healthcare solo this evening because it is Christmas Eve and people have a lot of things to do. So again, I thank you for showing up for tonight's event, and I hope that I be able to serve you and deliver to you what it is you signed up to receive. Okay? So Thinking Smart About Healthcare. So I'm Glenee Davis. I'm a self-published author. I have 2 books. Yet here I stand, my bondage. Yet here I stand, my journey from bondage to liberty. It's a memoir. I think that it's an American classic. It is an amazingly written book. It's a page turner, so I've been told. And then Bias and Burnout, 10 Power Moves for Healthcare Workplace Equity. If I had to describe this book, it's a healthcare business book slash what to do when you are dealing with workplace ish slash reclaiming your time in the workplace when you're dealing with bias and conflicted and confused between what to do. Anyway, I have a 30-year healthcare experience. I have been working as a registered nurse for almost 17 years. I have practiced in the areas of critical care, adult and pediatric, solid organ transplants, pain management, peri and post anesthesia. I also worked in the Heart Institute at this time doing cardiac catheterizations on our babies, neonates, pediatrics. I'm a pediatric nurse right now in the Heart Institute. And my passion is nursing, and I believe that nursing belongs in business. I like to say that my company provides health information from the hood to the boardroom because your health is my business. Not so long ago, I almost lost my ability to create or earn a living or income because of bias within the healthcare system that almost led me to burn out. What had happened was I was attempting to cope with institutional racism in the form of systemic employment discrimination. Discrimination is a form of chronic job stress, right? Um, the lack of empathy and the lack of support and the lack of representation that I received as a registered nurse enduring 4 years of systemic employment discrimination is where I then understood that our ceilings, our nation's workforce, career professionals who are not entrepreneurs, our ceilings to true health is bias within the healthcare system. Our ceilings to true health as a career professional is bias within the healthcare system. It doesn't matter if it's our own personal bias or someone's bias against what it is that we need to pursue our equities, which is why since 2012, which is when I began to experience this systemic employment discrimination. And I'm not going to go through what happened and all of that here. Like, I've written 2 books to really just kind of tell you how to use these 10 power moves. And yet here I stand because I've done it, and I am here to absolutely share this information with anybody who wants to listen. And if you don't want to listen, that's fine, do you. But I'm here to be representation, advocacy, support, and educate other faith-based career professionals who may be in need and want some support from the healthcare system to not be disadvantaged. So this is why since 2012, I have been researching, applying theory, writing, blogging, as well as providing services to other gainfully employed persons in an effort to help protect and guide their health outcomes from systemic racism, from corporate gains, from profit before people, all of which will lead to burnout. In 2020, this year, like I said, this polarizing year of this pandemic and this racial injustice and the Black Lives Matter movement, all just culminating and coming to this really profound moment in history, I decided to pivot from helping individuals deal with employment discrimination in the form of maybe transgender discrimination one of my clients had experienced, and as well as a young millennial woman who had some labor law issues. No matter what you're going through in the workplace, you're going to begin to have a mental and a physical response, spikes in stress hormones, because something is happening, but maybe you just can't actually pinpoint what's happening. And so that's my expertise. I help people understand, assess, and ID outcomes so that they can get the equity that they deserve. So I guess you can say that we specialize in advancing human health. I am prepared to lead the US workforce who experience job stress to equity. This is not another anti-racist talk. Although African Americans suffer loss at a higher rate, career professionals are in trouble if they do not learn how to appropriately cope with bias in the workplace. We are here to help America's most discriminated, the American workforce, pursue employment rights that will lead to justice. We are here to provide real evidence-based methods and solutions that work. We are here to empower employees to put their health first. As a California registered nurse, I am well within my rights to provide my chosen population, career professionals, with the prescription for life. Again, thank you for showing up. Please give yourself a round of applause for taking out just a moment to listen to how healthcare has changed and what we as a community can begin to do about this. So let's move on. Our presentation summary, the topics that we are going to cover today are specifics in healthcare, measurable data, achievable goals, relevance of my products and services, and timeliness of partnerships, right? I'm excited. Are you all excited? I am definitely excited. Please enter into the chat box your name. You don't have to put your last name. You can keep your anonymity if you wish. Tell me what your occupation is. Tell me what it is that you desire from healthcare. And if you're not a healthcare worker, maybe you're a law enforcement, maybe you're a grocery store person, maybe some other essential worker. What is it that you want from the healthcare system? We provide education and strategies, but that's because that's what I endured, and that's because I saw a gap in understanding and providing true equity for others. But maybe you want something else, so you let me know what it is that you may want, okay? So go through our mission, our vision, and our purpose. RX for Life mission, RX for Life mission is to empower career professionals to appropriately cope with systemic racism through education, reduce the human and economic cost of workplace discrimination to reach health equity. And if you're just coming in, there is a copy of this PowerPoint in the chat box. So just download it. If you have issues with downloading it, let me know and I will email you a link, okay? Our vision is for every employee impacted by workplace discrimination to have a safe place to rest, strategize, and overcome. Our purpose is the preservation of life. Okay, so this presentation is going to be about 45 minutes, and I'm leaving 15 minutes for questions and answers. So therefore, you'll have to have questions typed into the chat box so that I can get to a few of them. Maybe some later presentations after the holidays. I would be able to have some moderators here or online helping moderate this, but it's just me this evening. So what are the specifics about the US healthcare system that impacts career professionals right now? Is that we know healthcare is a business, right? Healthcare wants to make money. Your health is not business for them. Not your true health, anyway. And the hub, healthcare is also the hub for all other industry workers who complain of job stress. Now, I'm gonna give you some empirical numbers, some empirical study numbers. They resonate with me. Let me know if they also resonate with you. 75 to 95% of all doctor's office visits are for complaints of job stress. And then 75% of diseases come from unhealthy emotions. What that says to me, and this has been my experience as well, my personal as well as my professional experience. Remember, I have 30 years of healthcare experience. The people complain of job stress in many, many ways. They experience domestic abuse, homicides, suicides, drug addictions, because they just don't want to deal with risking their loss of identity through their work, their paycheck, or they know that there's just such constraints. And you'll hear it in the voices of many executives that I've spoken with that my hands are tied. Your hands are not tied. You just don't have the resources and the allyship that you deserve to make sure that equity is a part of healthcare business. So I have a question here. Is there a health disparity connection between employment rights, employee responsibility, and healthcare rights? When I say employee responsibilities and we're talking about discrimination and employment rights, every year we have to sit down to make sure that we understand anti-bias and anti-discrimination policies, and we have to do competencies on them, but yet no one teaches what that looks like in real time and how it feels, and what the consequences are of pursuing those rights, of confronting in the workplace, and what type of support it is that you should have as you're doing the right thing in the workplace. Because putting your health first is the right thing to do. Not putting your health first is not, it's the wrong thing to do. And then we suffer the consequences of choosing not to do something because we have a fear of something that may happen in our workplace, like lose our job and our benefits, which is a real concern. But you have to know my story, and I need to get through this. It's a real concern. However, I want you to know that if you do the right thing, natural laws will always come into play. If you don't do the right thing, which is follow your company's policy that tells you the right thing to do, but it doesn't feel comfortable doing it, it feels like you're rebelling, even though it's the right thing to do, is where you are left vulnerable. And they're like, well, why didn't you do that? And later we'll talk about the whys. Okay. Um, your company will always tell you that you have a right to sue through workers' compensation, through mediation, or whatever. And I'm not here to stop anyone from abandoning their legal right to sue. But I do want you to know that most people don't make it to a court of law to be judged by a judge. Your attorneys or your mediators will all have this discussion, and it'll be your human interest against the interest of a corporation. Doesn't that already seem off balance? It already seems wrong, right? And it is. So I want you to take into perspective your emotional, your spiritual, and your moral obligation to pursue goals, to pursue your company's mission, which is why you're hired. You got hired and you learned your company's mission. And this is really the right thing to do as a gainful employee. You're receiving compensation to pursue company goals. And bias and their employees facing burnout and having diseases that come from chronic job stress is not part of the company's goals, not part of your goals, your family goals, and it certainly isn't part of the company's mission. Equity and justice is, right? I think so. It's what we all want. So when you do pursue in the correct way and you know what your policies are and you pursue those things, you do come out a winner. At least I did. And my whole goal is to replicate what I experienced, not identical because we're all unique, but to replicate your vision to get you into your prosperity as a career professional to grow and become industry leaders, right? Rewarding you to receive your equity and justice for not fainting in the pursuit to reaching your goals, which are the benefits of God, right? When we effectively and we appropriately cope with offenses, slights, bitter communications, microaggressions, demeaning conversations that are rooted in discrimination against a protected class person, there is where we can drastically reduce and even eliminate health disparities. Yeah. Okay. Any questions here? Well, let me just see. I am, I haven't, I'm not really sure. It's because I'm sharing my screen, so I can't see. Let me see. I'm not going to stop sharing. Okay, so we're on to the M, the measurable part. We're the measurable. According to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, every year across the nation, approximately 100,000 souls file a complaint of employment discrimination. The majority of those persons are African American women. Systemic racism, because of fear-based decision making, superiority complexes, withholdings of truths, company profit, company profit, interest before people's interest, there becomes a discord. So, what is the evidence? Poor clinical outcomes, increased suicides, poverty, hopelessness, helplessness, homelessness, stagnation, drug addictions, financial leaks for the company, as well as families never being able to get ahead because they're inappropriately coping with um, discrimination in the workplace, with institutional racism, because they have this fear of retribution, and disease begin to manifest because you never approach the outwardly social issues because you're fearing that, and that same fear becomes internalized. But when you do, and this has been my experience and my clients' experience as well, there's a fear. You fear, your knees are trembling, you're scared to say anything because you don't want to offend anyone, you don't want to lose your job. But when you begin to confront in a loving way, peace happens. You don't even know the good that can come from you standing up for yourself in the workplace. You don't even know. And I want you to be able to experience how to confront in love. I really want people to not feel like confront is such a bad word. Confront is opposition. Opposition is always opportunity. Opposition always bring opportunity to do good, even in the workplace. This is how we create leaders, right? So, my agency framework for dealing with this issues is that we use the workplace because it's relatable and measurable. The numbers from the EEOC, the government. Then we use the process of the nursing. We use the nursing process, because it's practical and it's evidence based. Then we use the word of God, the word of the Lord, because He is the truth and He is the missing source when America's most discriminated is in the fight of their life against the system. So, like I said earlier, I hope to reproduce healthy, healing, abundant, patient centered outcomes instead of the cold hard facts following the status quo. When we follow the status quo, drug addictions happen, injuries from prescription medications like opioids and psychiatric medications, poverty and mediocre lifestyles, homicides and suicides. These outcomes are all secondary to not knowing how to cope with workplace issues. I have interviewed so many people. Not only had I experienced not only during my 4 years experience of systemic employment discrimination did I not see those outcomes as being real realities of mine. Now, I grew up in the jungles in Los Angeles, a blood neighborhood. I went from gang banging to the boardroom table. I have a, I dropped out of high. I dropped out of elementary. Like, I went to high school, but all my credits kind of like were just from the 8th grade. And when I tell you that I had never saw myself as a statistic, a poor statistic, until I had to face 4 years of systemic employment discrimination within a major US hospital. So I know that these outcomes are a direct result of our nation's workforce not knowing how to make these, what I call power moves in the workplace. Um, they're not knowing how to deal with and cope with employment discrimination, a form of chronic job stress. Um, yeah, there was a 2019 groundbreaking report from the Los Angeles Homeless Authority that attests to a study that says that Los Angeles homelessness is a direct result of workplace and healthcare bias in the workplace. So, our achievable goals, we are on the A now. As the leader in reaching health equity, where will RX for Life be found? From the hood to the boardroom, health is a nurse's business. We educate and provide training using plain language to bring down walls, empower and promote work and personal health outcomes. We will be found in the US healthcare system. Staff and faculty counseling centers like employment assistance programs, government agencies like the EEOC, and your doctor's offices. Yeah, we are all at risk of increased and sudden death without a prescription for life. Okay, so we are on to the relevant RX for Life healthcare plans. I don't know if we have anybody in the audience who has buying decisions for the US healthcare system. If you are a diversity, equity, and inclusion C-suite, welcome. I am so glad to be here to be of service to you. Um, and or if you are a career professional who may be experiencing an undue amount of chronic job stress and you want equity, you want to make sure that you have a prescription for life that is going to validate you and support you, stay tuned, because I also have a plan to help you as well. But right now I'm going to just go through the offers and let me know if this is relevant. Let me know if this is something that our career professionals can do, that they need to make sure that they are getting the health equity. Because I don't know if any of you recognize this, but equity is, I don't think equity is something that can be given. It is a pursuit, and people need to be supported in that pursuit because of bias. People don't, your administrators and your managers, they are hired, their job is to represent the interest of the company. Your job as an employee is to represent or represent Jesus Christ. This is what I had to wrap my head around, that my church didn't teach me, that no one taught me. But when I stood firm on it and had patience and I waited, it helped me. It moved me through the system unscathed and healed. So let me know if these are some topics that is really relevant for you, because for the US healthcare system, exclusive for the US healthcare system, we have 4 easy solutions available right now, preventing those harmful effects of systemic racism within our US healthcare system. Remember that the US healthcare system is the hub for all other industry workers. So, and the US healthcare system is already broken. They are trying. We were a depressed and oppressed and burnt out industry before COVID. And so now people are still going to the healthcare industry for help and solutions when, child, they can't help themselves. Doctors are committing suicide at a rate of 1 per day. Nurses are committing suicide. Nobody is keeping record or even have data on that, but it's happening. People don't know what to do. And I went through 4 years of this systemic employment discrimination. Then I was fired for disability, got the receipts to prove that, as well as went 2 years off of 2 months of income. Never missed a mortgage payment. So this is why it's very important for you to learn how to put your health first and to follow the leading of the Holy Spirit or your first mind, whatever it is that you think in or believe in. I don't care if you believe like I believe, but you have to believe in yourself so that you do not fall victim and be found vulnerable. So let me know if these products and services are relevant for a time as this, like offer A for $15.95, bias and burnout. If you are a healthcare exec, I would love to get this book into 1,500 of your doctors, nurses, ancillary staff so that they can learn how to use anti-discrimination policies, so they can move from implicit bias to situational awareness, so that they can achieve the work-life harmony that they want, that you want, so they can know patient needs better. And then they'll also be able to get into the nurse assurance program, which is $11.97 a month. They get the workplace healthcare advocacy support and education to learn how to rethink job stress, to learn how to see employment as empowerment, to help learn how to advance the company's mission and become an unbiased industry leaders. Good, right? Right? And then the last two offers are to know bias, prevent burnout, which is an 8-week course. This course is specifically designed for doctors and nurses. Anybody can come, but I would like for doctors and nurses to be in this 8-week e-course where we go through each chapter of this book. Chapters are called Pain and Purpose, Power Moves, Chronic Job Stress, Confronting Bias, Disease or Wellness, Conflicted Decisions, Depressed or Oppressed, and then Justice. And one of the beautiful things about Offer C is that if the doctor who has privileges at a US hospital also has a community-based outpatient clinic who see lower socioeconomic patients who also may be experiencing some type of stress, maybe academic or wanting and desiring to do more in their life and are finding themselves up against a wall or with unbelief that they can do something and it's stressing them out. I would love to enter them into what I call a Live Well program for free. Okay, remember, I'm from the hood. I grew up in a lower socioeconomic area on Section 8 with a mother who was a paranoid schizophrenic who self-medicated. I grew up in the crack era and I made it. And I would like others to also succeed in their life. And then this is my offer exclusively for the healthcare industry. Customizable consultancy services, a 5-step evidence-based equity plan, which includes retaliation and retribution education so that we can reduce retaliation by 30% within the healthcare industry. And retaliation happens to be the #1 cause giving rise to discrimination claims. A person has a right to voice what is happening to them in the workplace with the government without fear of retribution and without retaliation happening. And I am an expert in healthcare bias, and I would love to be able to talk to your middle and upper management about their egos, right? This is how we begin to heal America through education, workplace and healthcare education. And the consultancy is free. Please, if you are here and you have buying decision and you would like to schedule your free health equity consultancy, just hang out towards the end. The service is $225,000. Yes, because I know that I can do the work and reduce retaliation and change the culture of the hospital. And here's the beautiful part about it: the more employees who buy into their own health wellness through just buying the book, that 225 comes down drastically. So let me know what you think about that, if we can discuss the value and the value proposition that I can offer you about thinking smart about healthcare. So here is my offer for career professionals. I'm looking for 25 healthcare or law enforcement professionals to sit with me for 5 weeks, one night a week, for employee empowerment sessions, a leadership development course for free. I have it nominally priced for $295. And we talk about the fear retribution. We work you through rational fear conflict. We talk about acts of retaliation and how to respond in hostile work environments. We talk about ineffective decision making, how to make good business decisions for yourself and your company. And we talk about the effects of stress hormones on the body as well. And then we talk about feelings of powerlessness, how to use your power in the workplace, because it is a lie from the pits of hell to say that there is an imbalance in power. You have power. You have to learn how to use it boldly and professionally. Okay. And then we have also, for the fifth week, internalizing workplace issues as personal problems. I want to be able to teach you how to remove the burden of job stress. We go to counseling. We used to talk to our barbers and our hairstylists, we overdrink, we oversex, we do all of these things because of workplace issues. Can you imagine the veil of shame that'll be lifted if we just learn how to become leaders in the workplace? And these are 5 challenges that keep people oppressed in the workplace. So, if you're a healthcare professional or a law enforcement, and maybe I'm missing someone else, if you are a career professional, which means that you're not thinking about doing entrepreneurship. You are an employee and you like being an employee, but you also want to grow in your career and become this amazing industry leader to help protect your communities and your consumers. Then this is the course for you. This is where we learn how to become empowered in the workplace. This is not a bad thing. This is a good thing, people. Because once we learn how to do all of that, then, we can heal. This is all about health, right? So let this inspire us, this timely connection. Let's partner together for them, our healthcare professionals. Because when they are knowledgeable and fearless to put health first, we are all protected. Yeah. So if you find any of this information value, please make sure that you share my PowerPoint with others. Contact me, follow me on social media as well. And these are my products and services. I have put a link in the chat box where you can purchase Bias and Burnout and Yet Here I Stand, two amazing reads. And let's see if there is any questions. Remember, I would love for you to join me in. Hi, how are you? Can you let me, I don't see, I know that there's people here, but if you have any questions, please type them in for me and say hi. Okay. All right. Well, hi. Okay. Well, thank you all for showing up. And our next meet will be on January the 27th. But if you are interested in becoming an empowered employee, the leadership development course, then let me know. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for showing up. Have a good one. Bye-bye.